Hello, what's up? Our first video episode of Claws to the Wall ever. Yes, this is Studio C, our wonderful studio here in KTSW. But hi, I'm Justin Brown, your host today. I'm with Kyle Owen here, Thomas Terry, and wonderful Paxton Graf here. We got a great show for you today. Plenty of Bobcat action and Texas State San Marcos sports in general. But we're going to start off with Texas State baseball. We saw the UIW Cardinals face off against the Bobcats, and that was in San Antonio. The Bobcats come around with a 12-8 win against a non-conference opponent. This is after they had a tough series against Oral Roberts where they lost that series 2-1. Guys, what are your thoughts on this win against UIW? This is a team that is known to be a Texas State rival. You know, last year you look at these two teams, UIW met them their first matchup after they came off an 8-game winning streak beating UT last year. UIW beat their 8-game winning streak last year. So guys, what are your thoughts on this two teams and what this game really had? Kyle, you were there.
Yeah, it's a turnaround from last year. I mean, like, it's just kind of different story, different time. I mean, the Bobcats were on a 2-game losing streak, the 2 games from the series early in the season. But either way, Coach Trout got his first win in San Antonio. So, hey, that's a good one to do. So if you're able to get your first win at a school that's pretty, I mean, like you said, considered a rival within one another, I think that, I mean, it's a good win overall. And a lot of runs scored as well. 12 runs, practically doubled what they had all weekend last weekend. So good to see that the bats are getting hot again. And like we always say it, I don't know if y'all see it on Twitter all the time, don't let the cats get hot. If you let the cats get hot, things are not going to go good for everybody else. So I think the Bobcats just, I mean, it's early in the season. A lot of pieces and places have to be put around. You saw a lot of late runs by Incarnate Word, a lot of back end bullpen pitching that just kind of fell off a little bit there. There were a lot of free 90s, a couple of errors as well, but nothing crazy. Played a lot of freshmen last night. Alex Gonzalez, got to see him for the first time, transfer from Baylor, unfortunately. On his first throw late in, I think it was in the 7th inning, he threw a ball over to first base, and something didn't feel right in his elbow. Got replaced by Ryan Leary, but Coach Trout said everything's going to be okay, and I hope he's able to get back onto the field as soon as possible because interior defense kind of needs a little help right now.
Yeah, we can't talk about this game without mentioning the grand slam hit by Dylan Pena last night. Spectacular performance by him. I believe the Bobcats in that inning, in the 6th inning, they scored 6 runs, and that's when the game kind of broke away there. He also had another opportunity later on in the game to hit another grand slam, but just fell this short to hitting it. So, I mean, it was a spectacular performance. Working with the wonderful Brant Freeman calling the game last night, he said that Slam Marcos made the return to San Antonio last night, and that was an absolutely true statement.
Yes, it was an absolutely true statement. I talked about the series history between these two teams. I mean, the Bobcats playing in UIW, they're 4-4, so this was an even matchup. And if you look at UIW last year, they're 16-8 at home. Yeah. So, definitely they have history, and I'm glad to see the Bobcats took advantage of that history. But, yeah, now they're, bouncing back, and they're going to be playing another game tonight.
Speaking of history, oh, my gosh, these two teams have played a lot of games together.
Yeah, they've been playing since 1987. If you look at their overall records, they're 26. I think the Bobcats are ahead in the series.
53 and 53 even.
Really?
Yeah, so it's going to be a good one. And at home, Bobcats 24 and 25, and looking to go 500 against Bearcats. But I mean, Bearcats pretty good. They got two ranked wins in Round Rock last week. It's going to be a good game.
It is going to be a good game, and that will be in the Bobcat Ballpark here in San Marcos, Texas. That game will be on air on KTSW 89.9, so be sure to tune into that one with Kyle Owen. He will be there on the call. Kyle, is that correct?
Yeah, it'll be me and David Castaneda on that one, so should be a great show. I haven't missed a baseball game yet, so if you want knowledge about the team, be sure to listen in.
Yeah, if you like that voice, you can listen to it for 3 more hours later if you have the time on your hands. But we're going to transition to another team, a team that had a lot more success and when it matters, and it's postseason, and that's the San Marcos Rattlers. The boys basketball team played against Reagan, the Reagan Rattlers, and they came away with a pretty big win. I think that was a 16-point win, if I'm correct. It was, 62-46, correct, Paxton?
Yes.
And what did you see in this game? I mean, this is amazing. I mean, the Rattlers are the farthest in the postseason they've ever been. This is by far the best season San Marcos High School basketball has ever seen. And this is behind Dan Miller. We have great players like Malik Presley, Caden Gums, Javen Kofer. What did you see in this game?
Well, I mean, it was a great playoff performance, just like the other two games before this one were. And, I just want to go back to last Friday's game real quick since we weren't able to talk about it much. Just a program-defining moment for the Rattlers. Every year they play against Austin Westlake and lose them in every single sport, it seems like. But in that one night, their softball team and their basketball team beat them when it mattered most. And so it was such an incredible moment to go. And they didn't just barely beat them. They beat them by 6 points, which 6 points in basketball is a lot. It didn't come down to a buzzer beater, and that's one of the top programs in the state when it comes to on the court, on the field as well. But going back to last night's game, Joey was able to call that one. I was taking stats for him. And leading the way last night was Malik Presley. As we all know, the great Malik Presley for the Rattlers led the way with 18 points. But what I want to mention is he scored 10 of those in the fourth quarter alone. He was on the tail end of the stat sheet up until that fourth quarter, and when his team needed him the most, he did it. And he did it with only one foul to give. He was at 4 fouls, 4 personals with the whole fourth quarter to go, and somehow he did not foul out of that game, which is remarkable because he got 3 in the first half. But also Caden Guns following with 16 points. But the other player was Zaire Jolivet, which, not to talk bad about him, but he's not really one of those names that you hear much about from this Rattler team. He went 4 for 5 last night, and one of those was just a missed layup. He went 4 for 4 from the three-point line. Perfect 12 points last night, which was a season high, I believe, but it was definitely a season high in three-pointers for him. What an outstanding performance when it mattered most, and they just played against quite possibly their toughest opponent so far in the playoffs, and they blew them out by, I believe it was 64-46, so 18 points. And, their next game will be against Wagner, which is another great team, and that will be in Northwest San Antonio and Northwest ISD gymnasium there this Friday. So y'all make sure, please go out to that. But if you can't, tune in here. We will be broadcasting it just like the last few games.
Yeah, I mean, look at these Rattlers. I mean, I just remember this team last year. We talked about Dan Miller, and they had that one game they lost. It was the first round of the playoffs. They lose it by a couple free throws. And look at this team. They're beating an opponent like Westlake that used to come into their house and beat them every year, and they took care of it by 6 points. And that shows that they have some resiliency. They know how to get division in a close game, and I think they could do that. And I'm looking at Max Preps here, and it says on Friday, March 3rd, they will be playing. It's Warren on here. Now, I heard that you said Wagner. I don't know.
Oh, yes, Warren.
It is Warren.
You're right.
Okay, so that will be a playoff game, and that will be on air for KTSW 89.9. And we will have who on the call?
Most likely be Joey and I. But, I will like to mention last night it was a first for us, YouTube Live. We've been thinking of the idea for a while, but last night was the perfect scenario because we had to put on the baseball game, but we didn't want to let the fans down for Rattlers and not cover that game. And so we had a great idea, and we did it, and it turned out great. We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll occasionally do that whenever we need to, but this coverage, this particular one on Friday night, will be on radio.
Yeah, because not only will you find this episode on YouTube, but you'll also find the whole, if you want to listen to that game, if you missed any details, the whole hour and 56-minute broadcast is on the YouTube page. So feel free to click into that one. But yes, the Rattler basketball team going to play against Warren. Kyle, any thoughts on this team before we move on?
Warren, from what I know, they play really good defense. They've only allowed 1,800 points all season long. The Rattlers, they're scoring 2,800 points. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Rattlers' high-powered offense, and you got a big defense coming up right there. And so it's just kind of, finding that balance and getting your offense to be able to play the offense that the Rattlers want to play against Warren, because, I mean, you can't let that defense control the game. I've known how it has been before, especially against New Braunfels late in the season when New Braunfels defense was able to slow down the game. That's kind of whenever San Marcos was really taken advantage of, and that's how they took their first loss. And how many games was it? Almost 25. And so it just, it's just the Rattlers just really they have to keep the pace up, and they have to play their offense, and that's the way they're going to punch their ticket to state.
And I will like to mention one thing. I don't want to keep it on this subject too long, but this is their first time making it to a regional semifinal in 40 years. And another thing is they are 4 games away from a state title. 4 games, that's all you have to win, and you will claim your first state title in men's basketball program history. So,
and a thought I have in my mind, and I just want to speculate, and this is really something we should talk about. Caden Gums, he committed to Texas State, but if they do win a state championship, he probably wish he would have waited to commit a little longer. I don't know, but because these players,
commitment exists these days.
It does.
Yep.
But this is going to give all these players an opportunity to shine, on a collegiate level, and get picked up by some really good teams. So it's really nice to see this team have the success, and it's going to be really exciting to see them play Friday, and that will be at 5:30 p.m. with Paxton Graf and Joey Gonzalez on the call, so make sure to tune into that one. But we're going to keep talking hoops, and we're talking Texas State men's basketball as they're playing in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. They ended their season on 2 losses, and they entered the tournament on an 11th seed in the bracket. And they played against Georgia State, which is a 14-seed team, and they actually get the win here, 81-76. That was last night. We saw 5 Bobcats in double figures. Now, we heard from Joey Gonzalez. He believes this team might be a playoff team, maybe someone that people sleep on in the regular season. What are your thoughts on this team, Paxton, and in this game? And can they continue this in their matchup against Old Dominion, a team they met this season and lost by 2 points?
Well, I definitely have to give a shout out to Joey. I mean, so far his prediction's looking good. Still 4 more games to go, 3 or 4 max, as far as them. So don't want to go too far as speculation. But Old Dominion, like you said, dropped it by 2. Definitely a winnable game, but if I remember correctly, they were battling key injuries at that point. Now the Bobcats pretty much have everyone, which it worked out for them last night. So we'll see as far as how they'll reload, I guess you can say, against the Monarchs. But, what a game it was last night to watch. We saw Drew Drennan hitting 16 points, finally snapped that 2-game losing streak. Now, the only stat that I'm looking at right now that I don't like is they're about 2-4 in their last 6 games. But I'm thinking this momentum from this last win last night will help them carry a win over the Monarchs. It's just a matter of how far can they go.
Yeah, I truly agree. After that 81-76 win by the Bobcats, everyone was involved, and we talked about how important it is for everybody to be healthy at the same time. And we finally have that, or we finally see, like you said, Paxton, that this team is healthy at the right time in the playoffs here. You look at the box score, like you said, Drew Drennan with 16 points, Jordan Mason with 15, Tyrell Morgan with 14 points, Nate Martin with 13, Mason Harrell with 13 points. So the point spread out there was kind of equally distributed there, and it took advantage over Georgia State, obviously, with the 81-76 win there.
Yeah, you mentioned it perfectly. 5 guys with over 13 points, that's how you win basketball games. Getting everybody on the court, to share the ball, getting everybody to be able to take shots and get up there. And it's been a great job so far in this tournament from the Bobcats. It was their first win in the Sun Belt Conference Championship tournament since 2019. That's a long time for basketball to win in a tournament, especially in between those times. You have two conference championships.
Yep.
No tournament wins. So great job just getting over the hunt there and getting over the hump and just being able to get past just winning that first game in the tournament since 2019-2020 and then on top of that, it was the first time we've led by more than 10 at half or 10 or more at half since January 7th. So Texas State really just kind of putting things on the back burner and just making sure that they know they are 1-0 now, and that is all they need to know. They got a good game against Old Dominion, and it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, like you were saying, Kyle, 41-31 in the first half. 41 points is a lot of first half points, especially since that the pace is it's a little bit slower compared to the second half. Second half is when teams start keying in, try to get to the bucket more. But the first half, to put up 41 points like that is amazing. And then going back to shooting 52% for the entire game, that's incredible too. 38% from 3 and 86% from the free throw line. To me, that is the most important stat of the night. 86% from the free throw line, because you're going to be getting fouled, in come playoff times, and you need to be able to hit those free throws, and they showed that.
Yeah, and I mean, we look at their individual statistics. We talk about how they're doing well offensively. We had 5 Bobcats in double figures. You mentioned their point totals. You know, it's really good to see players like Drew Drennan. I mean, Drew Drennan, he's in here. He's getting 16 points of his own. Jordan Mason, the rookie, he's getting 15 points. Tyler Morgan with 14. I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see those bench players perform. But it's playing defense that matters as well. You look at that game against Old Dominion. They lost it by 2 points, but in the last 2 minutes of that game, they were up by like 8 or 6 points, and they couldn't handle a full court press properly, and they took the game away from them. So if they want to continue into the playoffs, they're going to have to make up for their mistakes they had against Old Dominion, and I think they can do it. Now, that game against Old Dominion, that will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. That game will be on ESPN+, and we are in the looking of trying to get that one on air on KTSW as well. So definitely check out for that one. But yes, the men's basketball team wins their first game in the playoffs since 2019, as Kyle mentioned, and they will be playing Old Dominion next. Another team that's about to go into their Sun Belt Conference tournament but hasn't yet, they're not there yet. They have to play the winner of number 7. Well, we'll get into that. Texas State women's basketball. They finished their season, doing pretty well. They finished season as the champions of the conference, their first place. They have Zenery Antoine, who was named Coach of the Year in Sun Belt Conference. Guys, this team is amazing. I mean, a team comprised of seniors. They have 5 seniors on the team. Kennedy Taylor, the Sun Belt Conference all-time assist leader. I mean, there's so much leaving on this team if they don't continue this in the playoffs. But, guys, thoughts on this season, thoughts on this team and their playoff potential?
I mean, what a remarkable season it was. We kind of mentioned before we were entering our last game that we broadcast before the women's game, what a complete 180 just both basketball programs took. I mean, you had men's basketball last year who won the conference. They had a great regular season. And then women's basketball, they were kind of struggling. I'm not going to say they were bad, but they were struggling a little bit last season. This year, it's just complete 180. Men's basketball struggling, but women's basketball, they won the conference. They have Coach of the Year, Conference Coach of the Year. I mean, what a turnaround it was for this basketball program. The only thing that I'm worried about, I'm not going to mention it too much, is the key players that we're losing. We're losing Kennedy Taylor, Denasia Hood, Lauren Thompson, Tiana Eaton. We're losing our key players. So my question is how we're going to rebound in the offseason. But that's stuff to worry about later on in the season. Right now we're talking about this conference tournament.
A tournament to play.
Yeah. And the thing that I'm wondering is, are they going to do what the men's basketball team did? Win the regular season and lose in the first round.
It'd be crazy if they did.
It really would. And I'm curious to see how they will play, if they will use the momentum of winning the conference into these games in the tournament, or if they will use it and be satisfied with that.
Yeah, I don't know if we actually talked about how they performed against their game against Arkansas State, but to close out the season on a high note like that, to me, is a big deal. Winning that game 86-79, like you said, they had a spectacular season. Congratulations to Coach Antoine for winning that award. I believe, like you were saying, you don't want to harp on it too much with the players that you're losing, because the season technically is still going. Yeah. So with the type of leadership that you have and the older players that you have, it's really, I want to say there's no excuse. You have the guys who have the experience, and all of these ladies here, they have the experience needed to go far. Denasia Hood averaged 17 points per game this season. Spectacular performance, also averaging 8 boards this season. Kennedy Taylor, congratulations to her for breaking the assist record. I know we were talking about that in Sun Belt Conference play. The point goddess Kennedy Taylor. So when you look at these players that they have, I don't think that they will pull what the guys pulled last year. I think they'll be ready to go ahead and take home the gold.
Yeah, I mean, these girls have been just showing absolute resilience all season long, and I think really the only teams that can stand in their way are the 1 and the 3 seed, and Troy and JMU. Both really good, solid programs. Texas State lost a tough one to Troy midseason, and lost another tough one to JMU later in the year too. But I mean, everybody's praised them. Coach Z and Kennedy Taylor, absolutely historic seasons for the both of them. And I don't know if y'all saw as well, but Texas State basketball, every single coach on the team not only is a conference champion as a coach, they're a conference champion as a player. These ladies know how to win. They know how to win basketball games, and I think at the end of the day that they are going to shoot for the gold. That's all. That's their only goal. and they want to get to an NCAA championship. They don't want to be left in the dust in the NIT. They want to get to the big dance. That's what they want to do. They want to play on the big screen for the NCAA tournament and a chance to win a national championship. And the only way to do that, get through the Sun Belt.
And if there's any time to do it, the time is now.
Yeah.
Road to it is through Pensacola.
Exactly.
And, one thing I was thinking about while y'all were talking is, give a shout out to the women's sports for Texas State. I don't like to split the two, men's and women's, but Emily DeWalt and Kennedy Taylor, both now career assist leaders for the conference. What a season it's been for women's sports, and softball has potential to add on to that as well with Jessica Mullins and what they're going to do.
Yeah, you mentioned success, and another word that starts with an S is softball, and there's a bunch of success there because Texas State Classic they just had here in San Marcos, and it was a clean sweep for the Bobcats. They went 6-0 over the entire weekend, and look at this team. They had a score total. They beat the UTSA Roadrunners Thursday 1-0. They beat the Mavericks 4-3 in 9 innings on Thursday as well. They beat Kansas Friday 2-1. They beat Colorado State for Friday 4-1. They beat UTA 6-5 on Saturday, and they beat Colorado State again on Sunday 4-3. But just a remarkable start for this softball team. Jessica Mullins, she was named preseason Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year, and she hasn't had too much time on the mound so far. But just this softball team, we talk about, performances and players stepping up. Sierra Trahan, she was named Freshman of the Year last year, and look at her. She had a great walk-off in that, I think that final game, was it Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, I think it was Saturday, but
Saturday.
Or maybe, no, hers was Sunday. I think the one on Saturday, I think that one was.
No, it was on Sunday against Colorado State.
Yeah, because I think the walk-off from UTA, I want to say that one was Cameron Bass.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. But at the end of the day, the resiliency they showed this tournament. After losing, I think it was 4 games in the first 2 tournaments, they came out and, just swept the Texas State Classic and against, good teams, good rivals, UTSA, UTA twice. Kansas is nothing to scoff about, Big 12 team. Colorado State, they're a good program. They got a couple big wins. They beat them twice. Just the resilience that they showed. Look at you talked about all those scores, the close games, 2 of them in extra innings, both of those against UTA. A lot of 1-score games as well. Just really, really close and tough battles that the Bobcats were able to come out on the other side of. And what way to show what type of resiliency your team has by sweeping your own tournament and in the fashion that they did. So now they head to Boca Raton, and they got a good matchup coming up, but kind of a tune-up a little bit maybe for before they go to the Bevo Classic and face some of the powerhouses in NCAA softball. But either way, this softball team is on the right track. You mentioned, Jessica Mullins hasn't seen too much of the field, but her time in the circle has been used very well. She's kind of taken up that closer role and done a really good job at it.
Yeah, that's talking about the fashion that they came in and won that game against Colorado State. They were down 3-0 in the second inning, and for them to come back and score 4 on that walk-off, that was a spectacular way to end that game and win that game.
Yeah, and you look at the personnel on this team. Sierra Trahan, she's currently the hitting leader right now with the highest batting average. She's hitting over 300. She's hitting a 396. Hannah Earl's right behind her, 378. Piper Randolph, 341. Little factoid about Sierra Trahan. Don't know if I've said it before in a previous episode. Me and her went to high school together. It's really cool to see her have so much success. We were in stats class together senior year, and now she's over here on Texas State grounds hitting home runs left and right and hitting doubles and triples. So kind of crazy.
Now you're taking her stats.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, man, I'm taking her stats. Dude, that was a good one. That's sinking in
Go
slowly.
from sitting in stat class to
Taking
being
her
her
stats.
stat to keeper.
Man, I got to tell her that one. That's kind of sad, actually. But, yeah. So the Bobcats are going to Boca Raton to play in the Owl Classic. They're playing against teams like Winthrop on March 2nd. That's Thursday. They're playing FAU on Thursday as well. They're playing against Penn, playing against Illinois State, and Winthrop one more time. We'll definitely give you more information about that on BCR Monday after that tournament goes down. But we're going to zoom out of Texas State area and the Hayes County area, and we're going to talk nationals. And, guys, the NBA All-Star came to a close. A lot of people thought things about it. We talked about it. But now regular season play is back at it, and 2 teams that made huge trades right before the All-Star break are seeing some things they didn't expect. Russell Westbrook goes to the Clippers. They're 0-4, and Kyrie Irving went to the Mavs, and now they're 1-4. Is that correct, Paxton? Guys, were these trades actually good? Who is going to have the better trade in this situation? Is Russell Westbrook just a bust, or is it just the teams that these players are on? What are your thoughts?
Well, hold on. Is Lob City now Brick City?
Yeah, I guess so. It is Brick City because Russell Westbrook, with 2 minutes left, they're down freaking 4 points, and he's shooting bricks. But yeah,
I mean, I don't know what to tell you from the Mavs standpoint. The Lakers game was disappointing.
The chemistry just doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah, I think it's a battle of who's the actual star here. I mean, for the longest time it's been Luka, and now we've got this other all-star with him, which he hasn't been able to deal with except Porzingis, and Porzingis was always injured with Luka. So I think it's a learning moment. I don't think Luka's been able to feel that yet, except in like the all-star games and stuff. And so I think right now we're just witnessing that learning moment. I think come crunch time, I think they're going to find a way, because I mean, both of them are in the playoffs now. It's not like he's got someone who hasn't ever been in the playoffs. I think they'll find it in crunch time. Right now, we're just witnessing the learning aspect of it, which is not a fun time to be watching right now, I will say. Like the other night, the Lakers game, I don't know how we blew that. We did. I know you're excited. But what's happening with LeBron, though? I heard he popped something.
Yeah, there's so
right
much
after
stuff
that
to be
scoring
said.
record.
Yeah, I know.
What'd I say?
And it's crazy because not only is he out for the next 2 weeks, but Anthony Davis is also out tonight too.
Yeah, after getting
Oh,
dunked
yeah,
on by
after
Jaren
getting, I was about to
Jackson.
say, did something happen after that dunk or what?
Yeah, they're saying it's his foot, but he was grabbing his wrist after the game. So I don't know what's going on with him. And we also have D'Angelo. We also have D'Angelo Russell that's struggling with that ankle sprain too. So right now the Lakers are just shorthanded. I know we're not talking about the Lakers right now. We're mostly talking about the Clippers and the.
No, we can always talk about him, you know.
Yeah, the Clippers and the Mavericks.
No,
So.
don't give them any more exposure.
But I think the main thing that you're talking about there, Paxton, and I think it's a good thing that they are experiencing this now versus the playoffs. This is the time where you want to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And obviously what's going on right now is not working. So Jason Kidd and the Mavericks have some time to kind of get it together while still trying to stay afloat in the Western Conference. We got to remember it's a dog fight right now, and they aren't necessarily the ones that have clinched yet. So I think they still have a little bit of time to get it together. Kyrie Irving said after the game that he has to remove some of that pressure that he's put on himself to perform. You know, he has an amazing player right beside him, Luka Doncic, able to hit shots. He recognizes that. Even other guys, too, like Tim Hardaway Jr., Christian Wood, those guys can hit big-time shots, too. So we saw it, too, when LeBron came back to Cleveland. We saw that exact same thing happen, too, with Kyrie and LeBron. Kyrie and Kevin Durant and James Harden last year with the Brooklyn Nets. So it happens. So, yeah, that's that. That's that with them. But for the Clippers, they are Paul George actually came out and said he recognized that he cannot be the best player on a championship winning team. So that's interesting to me because given Kawhi Leonard's injury history, and I know y'all will talk about that a little bit more later on, do you guys think that this team can actually win a championship? Are they a championship contender?
No.
The Clippers?
No, I don't. I mean, they have pieces that could do it, but I don't think that those pieces are necessarily in the right spots. I don't know how to explain this. Honestly, it's just because, like, I mean, Kawhi Leonard, obviously, that guy, he can win championships. He's done it before, multiple teams, and he's got.
He's only done it once. Kawhi.
Twice.
He has
Twice.
one with the Spurs and one with the
right.
Raptors,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Come on.
Oh, I only think of him as a Raptor.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's got championships wins with multiple teams.
Yes.
The guy can win championships. I mean, Russell Westbrook, he's not a champion. That is not a champion winner right there. He's at some points has been one of the better players in the NBA, but does it translate necessarily to winning games? I don't know. It's just, and then you look at Paul George as well, and I mean, it's trying to say that he's the best player on that team. I don't know. Kawhi, in my opinion, one of the better players in the NBA right now, and I don't see how Paul George can think that.
Oh no. He was saying that he recognized that he cannot be. So I think he's probably personally denoting himself, saying that Kawhi.
Okay. I misheard the quote. Maybe
Oh,
so,
that's my fault.
but yeah, no, Paul George. I mean, but at the end of the day, yeah, it takes Kawhi being healthy, and these guys working around Kawhi and feeding him the ball and letting Kawhi kind of do what he needs to do. But at the end of the day, I don't think that the Clippers are the team to do it. I think that they get bounced. Not early, but they'll make a run for some things. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Clippers are a team that are going to win a championship. I don't even think they'll get to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I don't think that either. I think the Western Conference is too loaded right now. You've got the Nuggets, you've got the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Suns, which has KD made his debut yet?
Making his debut
tonight. So, I mean,
the Hornets.
I think the Clippers are a good team. I don't think they're a championship caliber team, and like you just mentioned, I don't even think they'll make it to the conference final. I think if they're on the other side, maybe a conference finals appearance. I don't think finals.
You saying that the Clippers could beat Boston or
No. I don't think they could beat. I think they could do better in the Eastern. I don't think that they could beat those top dogs. But I think Western Conference wise, I think it's better overall. I think Eastern Conference has the better
top hitters.
top hitters, whatever you want to call it.
But speaking of the Hornets, I know y'all saw LaMelo Ball is out for the year with a fractured left
he's
ankle.
done, huh?
I mean, is the Achilles heel?
Bruh.
Is his ankle?
Yeah.
The Hornets this year.
Right
I mean,
here, you gotta.
that's not news. No, I'm just kidding. That sucks. But what I'll say, because I want to say something about this trade, and I know Russ Westbrook. He played for my favorite team ever, the Houston Rockets. And I'm going to tell you right now, ever since he left, I heard that. Ever since he left OKC, this man just had a heartbreaking journey all across the country. He's never been able to help a team, win in the postseason, or even, he really actually did not help us at all. He shot a bunch of bricks. He shot the most three-pointers in the postseason for us, more than Harden did, actually, that final series against the Lakers in the bubble. But not going to go on to that right now. But what I'll say is this: the Clippers, guys, for y'all to call them not okay, it's the West. The West is so unpredictable. It's the Wild West, right? That's why they got the name. And all these teams are so competitive and they're so unpredictable. You got to remember there's teams like the 6th seed Rockets in 1995 were the lowest seed NBA team ever to win a championship. They were a 6th seed. So you can never really understand what's going to happen. Now, Luka and the Mavs of Kyrie, this is what I'm going to say. Kyrie's getting old. He's going to have to learn to step back and lower his ego and realize he's going to have to play when it matters. There's certain things Kyrie can do that Luka Doncic could never. The way that Kyrie Irving handles himself, his floor, his ball handling ability. Luka's not been able to do that. But I think Luka is really patient. He's a good basketball player. He's not even going to cause any issues with Kyrie. I think Kyrie's going to be the one causing most of it because he doesn't want to give up the ball. But I'll say that if you look at those games, Luka Doncic has so much more space on the three-point line now with Kyrie Irving driving in the paint. So that's exciting for Mark Cuban and them. Don't know how they let that game go, Paxton. Don't know how it happened.
I don't know either.
I know how.
I'm speapless.
I know how.
Please
Speaking of,
enlighten me.
Big
LeBron
shout out
James.
to Luka Doncic, turned 24 yesterday.
How about that?
Just by the way, I want to hit on real quick another team from Dallas that's doing absolutely amazing right now. They are the first place team in the Central Division for the NHL. And third place in the Western Conference, only 1 point behind the Kings and the Knights, and getting that 1 seed for the Western Conference. And we're only a month out from the NHL playoffs. And the Dallas Stars, they've been struggling recently. Their last 10 games, they've only won like 2, and they just came off of a 7-game losing streak, but they did beat the Golden Knights, and a lot of their losses do come in overtime, so they're still racking up points, and they're doing a really good job. I don't know if y'all know anything about hockey, but Dallas Stars, by far one of my favorite teams in sports, and they've been consistent the past couple of years, and I think if they can figure out how to win games in regulation, I think they have a good chance to win an NHL title this year. That's just my opinion. I just wanted to put that out there.
Hey, Dallas Stars, man. They've done it. They've done it before,
At 99.
99.
Yeah. But, yeah.
Man, the city of champions.
Well, I guess, hey, let's go ahead and hit all the major sports then. How about those Rangers? Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
man.
Playing 2 games right now,
Two
right?
games at the same time. Yeah, they have an A team and a B team going up against the Padres.
Do we have a
and the
C team?
Dodgers.
I don't think so.
Would you like to pitch for the C team?
Hey,
I could do it.
I would love to go out to spring training and
Softball league.
team it up real quick. That'd be great. That'd be absolutely great.
They can do underhand throws, right?
Speaking of, what do y'all think about the pitch clock in MLB and collegiate sports right now? It's 20 seconds in collegiate sports, 15 seconds in MLB sports. You looked at it last night. I think it was Adolis Garcia had to change his entire form. Just one step baby rock throw rather than step baby rock throw. It's just a completely different game now. What kind of a factor is that putting things into?
We saw this last week where I believe the bases were loaded. Yes, the bases were loaded in that 6-6 game. And we saw that the hitter took too long to get inside of the box, and he was struck out. It was already, I believe it was a 1-2 or 2-2 count, and the umpire called it a strike because he took too long in the box, and that was it.
Tie.
Yeah, the game ended in a tie. So I don't know when the last time a baseball game has ended in a tie.
Spring training.
So they don't really care.
They don't. They only end in ties in spring training. But
but still, I mean, you see already right there how it's affected it, and it brings up the conversation: what if this was in the playoffs? What if this was the World Series? Do we change?
Game 7.
Do we tweak the rules a little bit?
Game 7, bases loaded, strikeout loses the game. How do you? I mean,
hopefully by Game 7 of the World Series, they know how to get used to the clock.
But so it's 5. You get 5 seconds. 5 seconds to get ready into the box.
Here's what I'll say. As sports are speeding up and our day-to-day life is speeding up, they want those broadcasts to speed up. And then the people that are taking the longest are batters and pitchers. And, truthfully, I think for this season, we're going to see a bunch of examples throughout the entire year on Twitter. Look at this game. Look at how it just got changed by the pitch clock. Or look how this game just ended in a tie because of a pitch. Well, it's not going to end in a tie, but you know what I'm saying. So it's going to take a season for these players to get used to it. But I'm going to tell you right now, those college players still want to go to the MLB. They don't care if there's a clock out. They don't care if it's 3 seconds. They're going to find a way to get in that box and get ready.
Well, basketball side, college basketball, they adjust from 35-second shot clock to 24. And that is a huge jump.
Yeah.
So, you're right. They're eager to go to the next level, the majors. They don't care how much of a decrease it's going to be.
Yeah, I do think it like you said, Justin, it's going to be an adjustment, but until people have adjusted, it's going to be hard to accept for a lot of people. Just especially if it's your team that's on the losing end of one of those pitch clock situations. It's just an unfortunate situation, but at the end of the day, there's a reason why they play 160 baseball games or something like that, and the one game, one pitch clock violation is really so minuscule in the game of baseball that you could just take it as a grain of salt, learn from it, move on from the situation. But I mean, I think that it is a good thing that they're really speeding things up, and like you mentioned, just kind of day to day, just really going faster for everybody right now. And those broadcasts, I mean, they're pushing 4 hours sometimes for a baseball game. I mean, as much as I would love to be at a ballpark for 4 hours, it's just not ideal.
Yeah, did y'all see that Pirates-Orioles game, too, where the umpires left?
Oh, yeah, I was about to mention that earlier. The umpires last night, they didn't want, so you know how it works with the home teams winning. You don't play the bottom half of the ninth. They were like, well, we want to play it. And so the umpires just walked off the field, and they kept playing baseball. They had the catcher calling balls and strikes, and decided it was the best time to get some extra reps in.
Could you have called the game, Justin, as an umpire?
No. I don't know. I feel like I'd have angry fans,
Hey, you suck.
Yeah. That's
the game was already over. But
well, I just want to give a quick shout out since you did hockey. Let's do XFL. I mean, how about XFL, the ultimate football league?
Ultimate football league.
Right now,
the UFL.
Yeah, DC leading the way with going perfect 2-0. Houston 2-0. St. Louis 2. Hey, Houston, you got an undefeated Houston team. How about that?
He's rolling his eyes
Houston
over
football.
there.
Woo.
Arlington 1-1. San Antonio, the Brahmas.
Maybe they should switch the franchise with the
How's the Rocks team doing?
That is the Brahmas, I believe.
Yeah.
They're 1-1.
in San Antonio.
Yeah.
The Rocks is doing it in San Antonio.
Yeah, he owns a team.
I
Can
thought he
you
owned the league.
smell what the Rock is cooking?
No.
Low viewership.
It's-
The viewership dropped 50% from weeks 1 to 2. So that's,
definitely.
Oh yeah, did you see on the
I
scoreboard
didn't
they have
watch
the betting odds on the scoreboard at all times during the game?
Yeah.
It showed that Isn't that weird how like sports now, it's like for years that was never allowed, like betting, and now
Pete
it's
Rose is banned from baseball.
every broadcast I
himself.
watch, I'm hearing, Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller read a freaking ad about DraftKings. What are you talking about?
Bet responsibly.
Nothing like gambling.
Nothing like it.
That's another topic for another day. That's for sure.
Actually, I think it's illegal here in the state of Texas too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but you can do it on your phone, I guess, on DraftKings.
Just go to Oklahoma.
What is it?
FanDuel.
What are they called? Your
Parlay.
VPNs.
VPNs. What? Oh, yeah, if you use a VPN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do that in
Hey,
high
but we do
school.
not advocate any of that activity here. at
Never
KTSW
mind.
Sports,
What's a VPN?
and we never will condone that activity. But, guys,
Absolutely.
this was a wonderful episode, and this was Kyle Owen. That was Thomas Terry, and this is Paxton Graf, and I was Justin Brown. And, well, I still am. still might be.
What's your new name?
Justini. All right, but hey, you want more of Justini? Tune in next week. We'll have this episode on YouTube and the audio version on Spotify and SoundCloud. But yep, follow KTSW Sports on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.